Hey everyone, welcome to What's Happening in Real Estate this week. This is our first episode of 2025. I got Conrad Zerini here, owner, broker of Remax Escarpment, Remax Niagara, and we got Brian Hogbin of Mission 35 Mortgages, and myself, Rob Golfi, with Remax, the Golfi team. So we got some numbers going out, but guys, we've been going through some aches and pains with Toronto Real Estate Board taking over the Niagara Real Estate Board, which I don't know how Niagara agents are doing it. I know it's been a pain in my ass about this, trying to get stats and everything. And but the one thing, before we get to the aches and pains of the changing of boards, real estate boards, but Conrad, did you see in like look at this? In 2016, I don't know if you have that sheet I sent. 2016, we had a height of 9,000. This is looking at Niagara. We could do let's do Hamilton.
Yeah.
The height of 9,540 transactions.
Yes. Yeah.
2021, 10,179. That boom years.
Yeah.
2026 is going to be the same thing. Look how short of a time that the market jumped. We used to have to wait 10 years for this. It's happening in 5 years.
Oh yeah, it's compressed. It's super compressed.
We're in a fast-paced market right now. Fast-paced.
Yeah.
So we're gonna flatline, and it's gonna be flatline till probably next another year or so, and then things are gonna start going crazy.
Yeah, because a couple of things got to come into play. That whole the universities and cutting foreign people coming in, that's gonna take hold, and you're gonna see that some of that demand waning off in the next year. But they haven't built anything.
No.
so eventually that's going to come to roost. They haven't built a single thing. So, it's going to be an interesting time. You're right. It might be this little calm before the storm. You're absolutely right.
And chances are we're going to have a new government in 2026. Trudeau resigned because he kind of resigned before he was going to get fired. Now we have to still have him for another 76 days, as they say.
Yeah, exactly.
He's still in power. Man, that guy, geez. You know what? Like, what can't they fire somebody even though they resign so that we can get somebody else, on TV instead of looking at him? Like, I'm just, But anyway, but look, but the numbers. So Conrad, I know you're a stats guy. You got numbers. Tell me, what do you think is happening?
Well, look, I look at the transaction numbers all the time. Yeah, you're right. The pricing is, we saw a different price in average price or benchmark price in July and June than we did at the end of the year. But you got to think all the trading, starting at the beginning of this call, you said about the board. So if we look at all the trading areas, every trading area either had 0% increase over last year or was -2, -3. The only board that had a surplus 2.4% was Toronto Real Estate Board. And I'll say it was because that percentage is because some of these boards like Oakville, Milton, and Niagara joined in November. So it's artificial numbers. So it's been flat sales, flat. And we haven't even hit the 10-year. We're way below the 10-year average in transactions. So, I always say the watering hole is getting smaller. There's less transactions getting done. And people are spending more time, I think, in their homes than they have in the past. So that's what I look at. And again, you're just going to see it probably, I don't know, you'll see some areas where you see 2 or 3%. But I did a video last week, and I talked about the winners. Yeah. The winners being bungalows were big winners last year, and condos were the big losers. And when you take the winners of the condo and the losers of bungalows, we get to this kind of very flat in terms of pricing, right? But you got to pick the right product, and you got to choose your right agent. Choose the right agent to help you out buy a house, because they're going to do a deeper dive and tell you where you're going to get your best bang for your buck and best appreciation over time, right?
Oh, absolutely. I'm finding, you know what it is? I'm finding that the only people, the people that are moving are people that easily are moving and no problem are the ones that bought before 2021. And but the ones that bought in 2021 and the beginning of 2022, if those guys are moving, it's because they have to move. Because they're losing equity.
Yeah.
Either they're selling at the same price they bought, or they're selling for a lot less than they purchased, just because they bought in a high market. And some of these guys, they overpaid by like hundreds of thousands. Like, I mean, some of these guys just went all in and rolled the dice, and it's funny to see that these guys now, they want to move. I don't know if it's because of the mortgage reasons and they have to downsize, or is it because of,
I think they've lost hope in the home ownership game, right? Because they feel like they got screwed a little bit. They bought in the high end of the market. They had a high mortgage. They kind of like had a little bit of disdain in that home ownership dream. But I really think a lot of those people, it's all coming to the change right now with the mortgage rules changing and the rates ended up dropping right now. Like, listen, you hung on this far, don't sell, continue to build up the equity. No. You're going to be just fine, right? You're going to be just fine by the end of this year. I think you're going to see, to your point, Rob, I think you're going to see some big gains this year because of a lot of the mortgage rules are just coming into effect now, right? December. First time buyers.
Yeah.
It's not a huge one. But it's like, I always talk about these little 1% changes. We just went from 25 to 30 years. Another rule that's coming out January 15th is now, for the first time since 2008, you can refinance a home up to 90%. You've never been able to refinance 90%. Mm-hmm. Now it's only for a secondary dwelling in your home. But now we just opened up the gates again, the first time in like 16 years, for Canada Mortgage and Housing to do high ratio refinances.
You think that's going to put more people in debt? Because I mean, the millennials hold the biggest debt right now over the baby boomers. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they are the majority of the debt holders, obviously, because they're the working ones. And the baby boomers are the ones that have their houses paid for, cars paid for. They've lived their life. But do you find?
I think it'll put them in more debt, but good debt. Like, I think those millennials are really smart, right? Because you think about it, we're investors.
Good debt. I love that. Good debt.
Right from a mortgage guy. I like that. Mortgage guy. Hey.
That's a little insider trading.
Well, think about this. If I'm going to add $100,000 to my mortgage, and I can put in a basement unit for $100,000, right? I can probably do my basement up pretty good for $100,000 and rent it out for $1,500 bucks. That's $18,000 that I'm going to get in a year for $100,000 investment. You can't get that type of return on investment,
right?
In any other type of real estate right now. So to be able to take out that money now, 90% refi, pays
not bad.
Not bad at all.
But I think the opportunity is all those 2020 buyers, because those 2020 buyers built some great equity. Look. You know what they say, Warren Buffett said it, be greedy when people are fearful. This first 90 days, and this is where I think people are going to get lost in the shuffle here, but these first 90 days is a little odd. No one knows where it's going to go. This is the time, especially if you buy in 2020, you got some equity. This is the time I'd be going shopping.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna renew your mortgage anyway. Right. I think that there's a huge opportunity. I know Brian's going to kick me under the table because he likes that refinance stuff. But I'm telling you, I think a percentage, and you should really keep a number on this one, Brian. There's going to be a percentage of these people that you could wake up a little sleeping giant saying, you know what, you should talk to a real estate agent because you got some great equity now. The market's a little bit on the flat side. This is a time to get in. Right. This is a perfect opportunity for people to buy in Q1. I think it's going to be unheard of in terms of what you're going to see. Right.
I do. I think anybody that buys this year, they are going to benefit for in the years to coming at like 2026, 2027. I think if you're sitting on the fence, and I'll tell you, I was just talking to this millennial. Actually, no, he's actually Gen Z, I think, because the youngest millennial is 28, right? So he's on a cut. He's on the cusp. He's actually more Gen Z, I think he's 26, 27. So this guy is going, well, I want to wait another year or two. He wants to save $100,000. This guy's probably got $50,000 or more in it.
I got you.
Mm-hmm. And I'm saying to him, I'm not trying to get his business or anything. I said, listen, I wouldn't wait till, I says, this is the year to buy. I says, do whatever you can to buy, even if you don't have that extra $50,000. I'm sure, $50,000, there's a way to buy a decent house, because if you wait another year or 2 years, you're going to end up paying way more money for the house, and you're going to have to keep saving. And I'm just saying, like, I think he's a Gen Z. Gen Z's right now are just entering the market.
I spoke at a Hamilton District Apartment Association last night, who are a group full of investors, and guess what? They said the exact same quote that you just said right there, Conrad. So when you look at the money starting to get into the market right now, your first-time home buyer is going to be competing with the investor soon, because that lower end price point, when the rates go down, is going to be able to cash flow. So now you're competing. And if you wait for the herd to go, you're competing with the herd. And so don't go with the herd mentality.
And I think that 2020 equity, like Rob, you may be able to say it better than I do, but conservatively speaking, those people have 25% equity that they built like that.
Yeah.
Correct? From 20 to 30%, and I'm not over exaggerating.
25%,
That's
25%
for sure from 2020 to today, right? So those people with that giant equity, this is your time. Like look, I agree with you. There's the first time buyer, but I think this is the time. The move up buyer has been kind of staying on the sidelines for a bit.
Yeah.
This is the time. Like if you bought in 2020 and you got that equity, you got huge power, because look, the market really went back, and you've got big bucks right now, and now's the time either to buy an investment property with that equity or move up. And like I'm a firm believer in buying that unicorn, because the unicorn goes up in price, right? You know it too, Brian. You know it, like that unicorn.
Oh yeah.
Going big. This is the time to move up. The move up buyers should fuel this market without a doubt from 2020.
What's even better is keep the property for just another 18 months to 2 years. Buy another property now. Keep the property that you're living in for another 2 years, and then you beat the market. You will beat the market when it comes to equity growth, because now you buy another property for your grade on your house. You go larger, and you'll build equity there. And now you're still building equity on your investment property, which was your personal residence, and then you dump it, and then guess what?
Well, you just said the suck and blow in real estate, which is never accomplished, which is absolutely brilliant. The most brilliant piece of advice I've heard in a long time.
There you go.
Nailed it. You nailed it.
If they do that, they will kill it. I mean, like we know, like you've owned 2 properties, right? If you let's say you own. Like Brian knows this, and Conrad, you know this. You own a property. If the market goes up 5% a year, and you got $1 million property, you just made 50 grand. Next year, you made another freaking 60,000. It just keeps going up. And now, if you own 10 properties and you own $10 million in real estate, guess what? You just made $500,000 a year on equity growth on your personal net worth. As you keep going up. But like that, definitely, I mean, if you want a good investment, yes, we're in a flat zone a little bit right now, but it doesn't stay there long. Look how many freaking people are staying in hotels right now. They need housing. You know what I mean? Look how many, you know what I mean? Like we need housing. And like Conrad, like you said, we haven't really built any houses in the last couple of years.
No, nothing.
And you know what? And we're gonna get so choked that the government's going to have to do something and give these developers money.
Well, it's funny. I read my first article yesterday that said condo shortage in 2027 because they are down 80% right now in new condo starts.
Well, and I was just going to say, you really want the real suck. If you're thinking of retiring to a condo or downsizing somewhere down the road, and they're down. Condos are down 11% downtown Hamilton, 6% in Oakville, all that kind of stuff. In downtown Toronto, 11%. Financial district, closer to 14% Toronto. If you're thinking of retiring to one of those, with that price going down, exactly what you said, Rob, use some of that equity, use some of that 2020 equity, buy that, you will have it for free down the road.
Oh,
because construction costs are high, guys. It doesn't matter what you do. You can't change it. Trades are shrinking. So that condo market, absolutely.
That is great retirement planning on the Golfi podcast today. Right now.
It is a great retirement plan. Never sell real estate. Yeah. That's it.
You're right.
That's it. So
only if you have to.
We're running a little out of time here. Question. Fires are happening in California. I'm sure a lot of people have coverage, insurance coverage. A lot of people don't. I'm sure the government comes in. Conrad, you were mentioning something about the government subsidy that they do. Because
the government is fund. Yeah, it's actually the fire insurance in California is underwritten by the state. So it's because no insurer will cover. So apparently people pay into it. It's kind of down right now, without a doubt, right? Like it's really depleted. So You feel for these people, but insurance, I think you're going to see insurance going to be one of the things on the radar screen of buyers going forward, especially in the United States and probably coming to Canada as well. So
what one insurance, one policy that I'd say 99% of the people don't have insurance on this one thing. We're covered for all natural disasters, but there's one natural disaster we're not covered for. Earthquakes.
Yes.
Jesus. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Earthquakes. I'm telling you, and guess what? If we have one,
Yeah,
we're in big trouble because the insurance companies say, well, your policy doesn't have it. Now, I was talking to an insurance guy. He says a $2,000 policy, if you want earthquake insurance, it's an additional $400.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is, so that's a $2,000 policy. But can you imagine, like, you got an expensive house, you're paying $4 or $5 grand for insurance.
I've got earthquake insurance on one of my buildings, and it was only an extra about $800, right? Not only, but
yeah. It adds to the expense. Would you ever go to that finance company again? Are you just?
You know what? It was one of those ones I had to go there, so I wasn't super excited about it.
Oh, really?
It wasn't a want to. It was
in time. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? We have a big earthquake. All the buildings are down.
Oh my God!
And Brian's going, I got earthquake.
I got it.
He goes, he'll be the only guy. He'll have the first building up. Everybody else is trying to scramble, trying to find funds. That's it. Oh, terrible. My God. Anyway, guys, listen, I appreciate your time and Happy New Year. And because I know a lot of us were away on the first week. That's why we couldn't do one last week. But anyway, looking forward to seeing you next week, guys. Happy New Year. And thanks for listening, everybody else.
Thanks.
Thanks.